The fun continues. Welcome back, my favorite people. Today we are recreating another tactic. It's a 4-2-2, kind of a Jesse Marsch replication at Leeds. Though at Leeds, Jesse Marsch has mostly used the 4-2-3-1. We all know that a 4-2-2 is his preferred formation. The fun also continues in the transfer window as well. So Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, both of them have left Leeds in Football Manager in my game. Both of them have left Leeds and it's our job to replace them. So I have replaced them with some of the players that they are rumoured to sign in real life, but also we have found some kind of in real life realistic signings for them. So in the video, we are going to be looking at some of those new signings. We're going to recreate that tactic, look at the results and sign off with a game. So without the further hold up, let's get stuck in. So here we are in the Leeds managerial office. As you can see, the media predicts us to finish 12th. But if we actually check the season preview, then we can see, 12th. Pretty much the same. As we can see, Rafinha is at Arsenal. The league has started. We've played 2 games already. Don't worry about that. But as we can see, Rafinha is at Arsenal. And if we go to Manchester City, Calvin Phillips looking all nice and cozy at the Etihad Stadium. We could have also looked to move on Helder Costa, but he stays. Maybe we need a backup. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. But he stays. He's already got a Carabao Cup appearance as well, so he's probably doing too much already. So Rafinha and Calvin Phillips are the 2 players that have left us, but they need replacing. Who have we replaced them with? Let's have a look. But before we do, let's have a look at some of the signings that they are rumoured to make in real life, and because obviously those are the signings that are put in Leeds, and then we will look at that Rafinha and Calvin Phillips replacement. Leeds have been positive in a transfer window. They have made 2 signings in real life. One of them is Rasmus Christiansen. He's a right back. He's going to provide some competition for Luke Ayling as the right back for Leeds, of course. But they have also signed Marc Roca. Now, is his name Marc Roca or Marc Roja? He's Spanish. I feel that there's some spice to it, but we're just going to call him Marc Roca for this video. Now, this signing was made before Calvin Phillips. Was this signing made with Calvin Phillips looking to leave in mind? Possibly, but we're just going to ignore that. So we're going to look for a midfield partner for Marc Roja. Charles de Ketelaere is a player that Leeds are heavily linked with in real life, of course, which is why I have transferred him into Leeds team. So Rafinha does need replacement. This isn't necessarily the Rafinha placement because Leeds were already looking for a winger, so possibly Charles de Ketelaere was there as a potential winger option before the Rafinha sell. So we've added him, not with the Rafinha sell in mind. Mohamed Bayo is an interesting signing that I made for Leeds. I believe Leeds are looking for a striker in the transfer market. They were linked with Eddie Nketiah. They were really interested before he signed his contract, of course, and they were also interested in Kalimwendo. So this guy, my database on Football Manager is small, so we cannot see his profile in the game. But him and Eddie Nketiah, they're fairly similar players. They have pace. They like to be the offside trap kind of. They like to play on the last shoulder. They like to move into the channels and they like to receive touches inside the box. So based on the player profile of Eddie Nketiah and Kalimwendo is the reason why I signed Mohamed Bayo. Someone that had a very decent season in League 1. He got some bit of pace to him, of course. He gets a fair few touches inside the box. He's fairly clinical as well. So too was Kalimwendo and Eddie Nketiah. So I signed Mohamed Bayo based off those player profiles. I mean, he's 6'2". He's fairly taller than the other 2. So he's decent in the air. He kind of lacks the first touch and dribbling on the game, but he's got some strength. He's got some off the ball movement, finishing and composure that can do in Football Manager. So Mohamed Bayo is an interesting signing that I made for Leeds. Brendan Aronson, now I did actually forget about him. Leeds did sign him in real life as well. So they have made 3 signings, not the 2. Rasmus Christiansen, Marc Roja and Brendan Aronson. So they have actually made 3 signings in the window already. Aronson is kind of a central midfielder, attacking midfielder. He can play out on the wider areas as well, but he is only 2021. I'm not sure Leeds signed him thinking that he's going to be a first teamer right away, but Brendan Aronson really does have a decent future. Now, looking at replacing Rafinha, of course, we have signed Cody Gakpo, someone that has impressed recently in real life, and he has been getting some interest from Arsenal and Tottenham as well. But considering they are both in for Rafinha, maybe they are looking for someone with a bit more, I don't know, a bit more about them, possibly Premier League experience, something along those lines. But Cody Gakpo is a very interesting player, and I have signed him for Leeds because he is rumoured to sign for Leeds in real life to replace Rafinha. So the replacement for Rafinha is Cody Gakpo, and the replacement for Calvin Phillips is Guido Rodriguez from Real Betis. Now I'm going to throw up a percentile rank to show you why. Because Calvin Phillips and Guido Rodriguez are fairly similar players. And we can see this with the percentile rank. Now this is compared with DMs in the top 5 leagues around Europe, and we can see with the tackles attempted it's fairly the same, though Guido Rodriguez has a higher or better tackle percentage. Looking at the interceptions, fairly similar. Passing percentage, Guido wins that with 61%. Progressive passing, Calvin Phillips top stat, but with the progressive carries, Guido Rodriguez just gets another head, but again it's ever so slightly. Nothing overly different here between the two, which is why I selected Guido Rodriguez for the Calvin Phillips replacement. XG build up, Guido Rodriguez is there on 69%. Possession adjusted tackles and interceptions, they are literally bang on the same. For the recoveries, Calvin Phillips is there on 95%. Calvin Phillips was very good with his recoveries and his pressures, but Guido Rodriguez is not too far behind. Looking at the long balls attempted as well, as we know, Calvin Phillips, this is a big part of his game, so his replacement better be decent at long passing. And Guido Rodriguez is, not only does he attempt a fair share of long balls, he also completes a higher number of those. And then lastly, looking at the touches, how much times do these players receive the ball from their teammates in their team? Again, fairly similar. So that is the reason why I picked Guido Rodriguez for Leeds, and this is our guy in Football Manager. Player traits in Football Manager is to play short, simple passes. That is something that I don't necessarily agree with. This is now the Leeds squad, and these are the players we are now going to create the tactic with. I feel this team now is kind of perfectly suited for that 4-2-4 or that 4-2-2-2. So let's get over to the tactic screen and let's start creating this Jesse Marsch tactic. The first step to creating this fairly impressive tactic in Football Manager is, of course, get the shape right. Get the shape right. We are lining up in our 4-2-4 shape. Now, the main idea or the main purpose of this shape kind of is to play vertically, play very narrowly. And it's kind of a lot of what you do off the ball. You've got to work very hard off the ball, and you're kind of setting yourself up for counter-attacking opportunities. Once you win the ball, you can then attack the central areas where you have bodies, and then you can create some very dangerous opportunities. A lot of the times the two wingers will invert, your wing backs will advance to overlap. You would then possibly have your two central midfielders, your two pivots, kind of being at security and protecting or covering those sort of areas in the wider areas as well, in case or when your fullbacks advance. And the two central midfielders, they don't really move about or move away from the position. Now these two midfielders are very key to this formation. They need to kind of hold their shape in the midfield. They need to win interceptions. They need to recover the ball for us as well. They are very key. We can start off with the team instructions. Now the mentality I am using attacking, because I want to focus on getting players further forward, especially after winning the ball. Now this doesn't necessarily mean the two central midfielders as well, because I just told you these two central midfielders need to hold their shape. But the mentality, we are on attacking. We're going to play fairly direct, and we're looking to get players further forward. In possession, the attacking width, we're going to play fairly narrow because we want the ball inside. We want to play in the middle, and we want to play fairly vertically. So we are going to be using fairly narrow attacking width. We need to overlap on the left and the right as well. This is going to help our attacking play, especially with the two inverted wingers cutting inside. We need some players holding their width. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean that your wing backs are going to be similar to complete wing backs where they're just bombing up and down the pitch, being overly aggressive, but when the opportunity is there, it's there, and your wing back can advance. We are also going to pass into space. This is a very counter-attacking based system, so once we do win the ball or once we're in possession, we want to play the ball into the players' paths so we can advance up the pitch and possibly expose any gaps and spaces that we have created. And lastly, in the final third, I have told my team to whip their crosses inside the box, mainly because I am looking to have a lot of bodies. I want kind of an overload in the box, and it's dangerous if your players are whipping the ball into the box. Now you might not necessarily win the first ball, but there's always the opportunity for you to win the second if you do have that overload in the box. Now one last tip as well for the attacking width, this is purely down to you. You can use narrow, you can use fairly narrow. I use both. Which one do I prefer? I do prefer narrow, but I do believe fairly narrow gives better results in Football Manager. Now, looking at the transition, when the possession has been lost, of course, we are going to counter press. We want to win the ball back right away. Again, this can set us up for some perfect counter-attacking opportunities, and we can score some lovely goals like we did against Chelsea. Now, when the possession has been won, we're not going to make counter-attacking movements. Now, I did mention twice already that your two central midfielders, it is very important for them to hold their shape. Now, once we do counter, they are going to be looking to advance and help you on your counter-attack. So we don't necessarily need that counter-attacking instruction or that counter instruction on in this particular system. We will have the wing-backs advancing. We've got the overlap to help them. We do have some inverted wingers cutting inside, but also we've got two strikers as well. So we will or should have enough attacking bodies in those advanced areas for us to expose some counter-attacking opportunities. For the goalkeeper in possession, we are going to distribute the ball to our fullbacks and throw it long. The reason being, there isn't one really. Lastly, for out of possession, now we have recognized that this is a Jesse Marsch replication, especially for his Leeds side. Now, when he was at the Red Bull company, you would possibly play with a much higher line of engagement, possibly, and you would be fairly aggressive. But we are at Leeds, and you've got to kind of tone that down once you come to the Premier League. So for the defensive line, we are using a standard defensive line, nothing again overly aggressive. And for the line of engagement, we are using a higher line of engagement. For the trigger press, it's on more often rather than much more often, kind of being solid, but also a nice balanced press. So we are trying to be the more proactive side, but again with some caution. We are also going to prevent the short goalkeeper distribution, and we are also going to get stuck in. Now that there wraps up the team instructions for this 4-2-2 tactic. So now for the player roles. In goal for the Meslier role, we are going to be using a sweeper keeper on the defensive duty. Now for the wing backs, we've already touched on their duty. They're going to be advancing, overlapping. Both of them, the pair of them, are going to be wing backs on support. Now both of them are going to have mark tighter and tackle hard as player instructions. Now tackle harder might not actually make sense considering that we've already got it in the team instructions, but I do want to give you the exact tactic that I created in my save, or my lead save, that you're going to see the results for. In defense, we are using two ball playing defenders, both of them on the defensive duties. Now I like two ball playing defenders in the system mainly because again we are a counter-attacking system. They play some nice diagonal balls or long balls trying to set up that counter-attack in the first place, and again they can play more direct balls, and this actually helps us with our press. So if they play that more direct ball, let's say to our DLF, he plays that long ball, he loses out, but then we will have our inside winger, we will have our central midfielder, possibly our forward as well, all in those central areas. So if we do win the first ball, we can counter press heavy and win that second ball and go on our counter attack. So this is what our defensive shape looks like. Our ball playing defenders have no team instructions. So now in central midfield, we are using one deep line playmaker on support, and his midfield partner is going to be a central midfielder on support as well. Both of them once again are going to be tackling harder. Their only instruction is to tackle harder. A DOP now, he's actually going to hold his position anyway. Again, this helps us with our double pivot, not maneuvering from their place or moving from their position often. And the central midfielder doesn't have hold his position, but again we're not giving him that option or that license to roam around or get further forward. If the opportunity is there to do so, then possibly he can take that opportunity, but in transition I do not want him to be making that counter-attacking movement. On the flanks, on the left hand side, we are using an inverted winger on support, but on the right hand side we are using an inverted winger on attack. It will make sense a little later on when I describe the striker roles. These two players once again have identical team instructions or player instructions, which is to mark tighter, tackle harder, and sit more narrow. We are going to put that on both of them. Now for the striker roles, I'd say actually already this is possibly 75% done already. All we've got to do is give this DLF an attacking duty, and then voila, this is all the player roles done. Now the reason why I've got an inverted winger on attack here on the right hand side and then support on the left hand side is mainly because we've got our main goal scorer, our main penetrator on the left hand side here in the advanced forward. Now on the right hand side, I do want the DLF and inverted winger to kind of take it in turns. A DLF, his main purpose isn't to penetrate, he's going to come deep, so we still need another player to penetrate. So if he comes deep, the inverted winger could be the one to penetrate. But if the DLF is the one that's penetrating, then the inverted winger can come inside into that attacking midfield area where the DLF possibly would have been, and then kind of you get this kind of nice mixture between the two. The DLF can penetrate or the inverted winger can penetrate, whereas on the left it's just going to be that advanced forward. For player instructions, the advanced forward, he's going to dribble more and tackle harder, and for the deep line forward, he is just going to tackle harder. And that there wraps up the team, the player roles, the team instructions, all of that goodness. Now I believe it's time to check out the results. Wink. So welcome to the end of the season. As you can see, 21st of May 2022, the Premier League season has just finished. In the Emirates FA Cup, we got knocked out in the semi-final. We did so well, but we got knocked out in the semi-final by Liverpool. In the Carabao Cup, again, we just keep getting knocked out in semi-finals. We are professional bottlers. We got knocked out in the semi-final by Tottenham Hotspur. But in the Premier League, we didn't bottle having a very good season, did we? Not at all. In the Premier League, we finished 4th, so that does mean Champions League football next season for Leeds. Come on, the boys. Champions League football under the Ellen Road lights. Now, looking at some of the team stats, you can see that we scored the 4th most goals in the Premier League with 76. Most shots for, we are in 3rd place. Fewer shots against, nobody is there. But looking at the most tackles won, look at Leeds with 732 tackles won. Go on, the boys. Go on, the boys. Most dribbles made, Leeds are in 4th place with 451 dribbles completed. Clean sheets joint 4th with the Arsenal, and looking at the fewest conceded, we are just behind the Arsenal again in 5th place with 39 conceded. Looking at the top goal scorers, Harry Kane and Haaland join with 28, but Rodrigo just one behind with 27. Who knows, if he did play 38 games, maybe he could have scored 28 goals. Looking at the most assists, Jack Harrison with 17. He must have been on corners. Looking at the most shots, Rodrigo is in 3rd place with 150. Rodrigo with the joint most man of the match. He must have had a good season, but his attributes aren't that great. Look at his finishing. His finishing is on 11, yet he scores 27 Premier League goals. Finishing isn't everything. Looking at the key passing, Jack Harrison on 171. Best pass completion, nobody there. We don't really care about that. But Junior Firpo and Stuart Dallas, our 2 fullbacks. Now, interestingly, the game thought that Stuart Dallas was the best right back in our team, though we have Luke Ayling and Christensen. Yeah, FM things. Looking at the most dribbles made, Stuart Dallas. See, that's probably why. Looking at the most clean sheets, Meslier with 12 clean sheets, and for the fewest conceded, Meslier there with 23. How does this tactic do against the bigger teams? Fairly inconsistent. So as you can see, away to Spurs, we got a nice 2-2 draw. I mean, that is a very, very decent result, especially as it could have been us that come away with the 3 points there. But as you can see here, we got smashed by Liverpool 4-2 away. Well, I say away from home, it was clearly at Wembley because it was the semi-final of the FA Cup. Man United, we went away at Old Trafford. Short time, I mean, this guy is scoring 2 goals against us. But we did smash Chelsea 6-2, as some of you guys saw already. We beat Arsenal 4-1. So basically, at home, we're kind of fine. We went away to Anfield and lost 3-0. We also played at home to Manchester City and lost 3-0. We lost 6-2 away to Tottenham Hotspur, but that was more likely with a backup team, as that was the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. And well, we beat Tottenham, we beat Man United, we did lose against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and we got a 0-0 draw at the Etihad, and we also beat Liverpool 3-1 at home. So it is inconsistent. Sometimes it does well, sometimes the other team can walk over you. You will need a full squad. The top goal scorers in this Leeds sides were Rodrigo with 33 goals in all competitions, Patrick Bamford with 18, Cody Gakpo with 11. Our new signing, Mohamed Bayo, he scored 9 in 9 starts. Charles De Catalere, he scored 8 in 14 starts. Looking at the most creative players, I mean, well, there's only one player with double figures in assists, and that's Jack Harrison with 23. Stuart Dallas on 8 assists. Mark Roja on 7 assists, Rodrigo on 7, and so too Cody Gakpo. But that there is the season results. Now it's time to sign off this video with a game. I believe we're playing Bournemouth, so a nice and easy game. They just got promoted. I didn't want to play anything too difficult because, again, I did want to see some of the tactical ideas play out. So let's play that game. So this here is the team that we're going to go with. So just a little recap. Meslier in goal, Junior Firpo as the left back, Ayling as the right back, Cooper and Koch as the 2 centre backs, Rodrigo as our kind of holding midfielder, and Roja as a more balanced midfielder, Cody Gakpo on the left hand side of the attack, Harrison on the right hand side, and then Bamford and Rodrigo to partner up top. This is the team. Let's get stuck in to this game. Here's Luke Ayling with the throw in now. Jack Harrison plays it to Bamford. He whips it in, and it's Rodrigo. I believe that might be 1-0 to Leeds. It's going to go to the VAR. We do know that for sure because this game loves the VAR, and it's goal awarded. Plays it to Jack Harrison down the line. Here's Mark Roja. Bamford. We've got to play or look for the middle now. Here is Jack Harrison. He comes. Oh, he's about to drive inside, but he runs out, which annoyingly. Bamford puts the ball in. Oh, it's two. That is poor from the Bournemouth goalkeeper there. So we are at halftime, and as you can see, we have been the dominant side. We've had 10 shots, 8 on target, so our shooting is fairly impressive. Our XG though is lower. It's lower than theirs. I didn't see any of their highlights. We forced an error. Let's go back, boys. Let's go back, because this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see, especially in this 44, because this is what I focused on. So now playing out from the back, this is very difficult for them. Cody Gakpo is marking Jack Stacey. We've got Harrison here marking Smith, and then we've got Bamford ready and Rodrigo ready to pounce once the ball is played, and then we can press one player and then cut off the passing lane for the other. So let's say Rodrigo presses him, and then Bamford could work hard to then cover up any passing lanes. Then we have Guido Rodriguez. He's ready to man mark Cook here in midfield, and then Mark Roca is man marking Billing. Everything here is very dangerous for Bournemouth, and it's likely that we are going to force an area. Well, I say it's likely. I know we did. So there is Hill. He can't find the pass. We've cut off all passing options. He can't find the pass, and the only thing for him to do is go long. And now we have recovered the ball. We're back in possession. Here's Luke Ayling now. Harrison. Ayling plays it into Harrison. Rodrigo, it's a hat-trick. And just like that, we score the perfect counter-attacking goal, I say. That is exactly what I'm looking for. So we can see our shape during the game as well, our nice 4-2-4 shape, some nice vertical control as well. The gaps between our lines aren't too huge, which is of course very important for our press not to be exposed. And this is our passing map as well, and as you can see, now this looks more like the 4-2-3-1 that Jesse Marsch uses in real life, with our striker now a little bit detached from his striker partner. Oh, what happened there? I didn't even see that. They just had a throw in, and then I saw the net bulging. This goal awarded as well. Another highlight that went to VAR. So Jack Stacey throws it to us. Poor Rodrigo. Very good work from Rodrigo there, and a very good finish from Bamford. And now I want this clean sheet. Billing, Anthony, Solanke with the ball. Plays it out wide. He's got to come deep to put pressure on him. It's Anthony, Billing, Zamora, Anthony. Don't let him. They're going to score, aren't they? I knew it. The game doesn't like clean sheets. There's just no need for that. And that there wraps up this game at Ellen Road. It is Leeds 4, Bournemouth 1. Rodrigo with a hat-trick. Bamford on the score sheet as well. Jack Harrison being fairly creative. So too as Patrick Bamford. Gakpo, we didn't really see much of him. Neither did we see much of Mark Roca. But they must have did something nice, because we won the game 4-1. And that there unfortunately wraps up this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed recording it. It was fun. And now we've finally got a tactic where we don't win the league and dominate, but we did finish 4th, which is fairly impressive for Leeds United. If you do want to download the tactic, the link is in the description. I appreciate any of you guys that have made it up to this point. If you have made it up to this point and you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed, like the video, leave a comment if you have any tactical recommendations or ideas, all of that good stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Peace out. Shout out to my Patreons. One love. Mwah.